I want your eyes all on me. Don't tell me lies now. I always get mine. Don't play with me. Do you want it? Can't feel me? No. Can't handle it? Right? Do you want it? No. Put your love on hold. I can't take it anymore. Put your love on me now. Trust me and you will see. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you need. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you need. Give me your love, no holding back, no. We could take it to the stars where you wanna go. The things that we can do, don't need to prove you know. Honey, I got what you want. Yeah, under the night sky, I want your eyes all on me. Don't tell me no lies. I always get mine. Don't play with me. So do you want it? Do you want it? Can you feel me? Can you feel me now? Can you handle it? Alright. So do you want it? Don't put your love on hold. I can't take it anymore. Put your love on me now. Trust me and you will see. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you need. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you need. So don't put your love on hold. Can't feel me, I can't take it anymore. Don't put your love on me. Trust me and you will see. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you need. Honey, I got what you want. Honey, I got what you want, got what you need now.
Hey. Welcome to the stream. What is going on, creators? Welcome to the Let's Get Live show this week in live. This week you are joined by me, your host, Diana Gladney, and my brother co-host, co-founder, co-creator, the man that came up with the genius idea of Let's Get Live, Doc the Rock, the bishop, as most Cephas the Black Poet said. What's most Doc, you are muted, my brother.
What?
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Yes, that is funny. Oh my goodness, man, Keith would never let that go, bro.
No.
And yeah, thank you, Keith. Man, good to see everyone here. Thank you guys for being here. I'm just happy to be vertical.
Right.
I move too fast to be laying down all day. Like, it just doesn't work for me.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of how it is. It's like you kind of get in the mode of like, I got to do this. Like, that's why I keep a journal and a notebook in my room, and then I keep one in the living room, and of course I have one in the office, and then just pens and stuff, because it's like I need to be able to capture. And then I think like, oh well, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm going to chill out. And then I'm like, well, let me go get my other laptop, and then maybe. And I'm like, I just need to go back in the office. It never works out. It never works.
I was basically like, I was like, if you walk out of this house, I will kill you. Stay in this house. Do not leave. And I was like, the office is just downstairs. Like, I'm not going to die between here and the elevator. And then she just tied the brown belt onto the door just to remind me that I could get a kick.
All she had to do is this.
And then Sylvia was bugging me too. Sylvia was like, you better not leave.
One of them
He's
poses.
like,
Like,
so thank you, Sylvia, for checking in and making sure I'm okay and making sure I don't leave. Sylvia was like, you better stay in the house and rest. I'm like, yes, sir.
right, right.
I'm like
Oh
trying to
man.
get her fly over here and kick my butt. I'm not that crazy.
Yeah. Next thing you see on the local Hawaii man flown out of the window after a roundhouse kick. Neighbors say the assailant was a 3'5".
That's about right. That's about right.
Don't hit me, Karen. We love you. We appreciate you.
Oh, that's super funny.
What is up to folks in the Chizad? Good to see you. Keely coming in early to say and show some love. We appreciate you so much. We got the Digital Buddha David Blackman in the house. Good to see you, brother. And we also got Big Promotions. Good to see you, Big Rich. Appreciate you, brother, that you are here this week. This week in live, we're talking about some camera rumors. Now, for those of you that don't know, the reason why camera rumors are important and why they are fun is because nobody knows if these are actually true or not. We just assume and proceed accordingly to say, if it comes out, it'll be great because of this, and it will may suck potentially because of that. However, we can start to look at, though, also with some of the rumored specs, because it's not all fluff and just it comes out of, sometimes companies leak their stats and some of the data because they want the competition to know, they want their people to know. And don't leave, don't switch, don't go anywhere else. Hold on, we're getting ready to announce them. So sometimes it's pretty strategic. So just like Apple iPhones and the Google Pixel phones get leaked, sometimes it's like they leak it. You know, like they want some people to know to get some buzz going around and stuff like that. So and a lot of times when we're talking about from a live streaming perspective, like what camera should you buy? It is different than the camera that may just be okay if you are creating offline content. So when you're thinking about your camera purchase, you need to consider incorporating live stream, because I think that's extremely vital to your content creation process, because it's a non-negotiable at this point, Doc. And Doc, I know you do a ton of live streaming. So, I mean, you see it every day.
Yeah. And well, it's just one of those things where, like you said, it does help the companies even sometimes get a feel if they're still in the early enough standpoint, firmware wise, or something that's not super hard to do hardware wise. If the dies have not been cut, last minute changes they can make, or even roadmap for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's kind of important to stay up on these things. Also, one thing that I kind of wanted to touch on real quick is, if you're going to be in this business, something I myself have to get better at. I have to get better at, okay, like the new thing came out, it's going to be highly beneficial for what I'm doing. Release what you have in your hands at a decent enough price that you can buy the next one and move up, and just count the gap. Now that everyone in our community now has a camera. Okay. So let's just say, in my particular case, what I'm staring down the pipe right now is an A6400. The A6400 for me was an $800 purchase. I got Sony friends. Everybody else is roughly like a G, right? So if they came out tomorrow with an A6400.6 that was way better and it was $1,000, it's not like I'm buying another $1,000 camera. I'm going to sell this sucker for $600, add $400 back, and replace to be on point with what's working forward. Mm-hmm. So you get in this idea of sliding things forward. Anybody that's owned the office, you replace the copy machine every once in a while. Right. And there's two ways of doing it. Wait till it dies, or so far out of spec that it's slowing down office flow, mm-hmm. or you got the guys that replace it every 2 years, no matter what. They're selling the old one to get the new one, realizing there is a what's like a gas cost commodity.
Yeah.
There's a commodity cost involved. But hey, if your commodity cost every 2 years for cameras is $400, it's kind of not nothing.
Yeah.
For almost anybody stream, even if you only stream like, once a month and you make $40 in super chat once a month, that still covers it. So like the excuses can eat a sandwich.
Y'all know what that means. What is going on? Good to see you, Kevin. Good to see you, Miss Chill. Good to see you, Simply Obs. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. But yes, that's the thing. It's to the point of, it doesn't, like, you have to think about this as a business. These are investments, and it's too much and too often people fall in love with the brand instead of falling in love with what that camera makes possible for you. Or it's like understanding that the upgrade has nothing to do. Well, I just got this one. So you just got draws last year too. You want to keep those? Like, how long? Like, how long? You know what I'm saying? It's like, but those socks, I got those socks in Christmas of '99, but you wear them every day. Let it go. You know, it's like, let's get an upgrade. Let's get an upgrade.
Here's what's super funny. I'm over here clicking on Pastor Key's comment and trying to put it in from YouTube. I'm trying to click on it. I'm like, I'm not driving today. Sis is driving. What are you doing, dummy?
Right. I was like, what's going on? Let me send a support ticket. Good to see you. Most CPs were just mentioning you. Hey, that's a dope thumbnail picture you got there, brother.
Right. But one thing he's correct too. Like, if your old model does have value, like for me, honestly, if they did come out with a new A60 something, which is part of the conversation, I would probably keep this in my particular case because I'm at a place where I could keep it. Right. But if I was at a place where I couldn't keep it, I would move it. And again, I don't technically need a second camera. Like, I started out with 4. I went all the way back down to 1 because this is going to sound super big-headed, but my content is good enough. I don't need to switch cameras to make it look cool. So
bomb drop, ladies and gentlemen. Listen.
But if for whatever reason you need to switch cameras, right? that was a shade comment. But if you really need to switch cameras, because it is good to break the eye cycle every once in a while, then fine. Take the one that you have here, move it to the side, add another angle, put it on the slider, put it like 3 rooms back next to Miss Tina, and then like bring it in when you need it,
right?
So you can see the back. So you can't see the back of my head. I have lumps back there from
listen. Angles matter, ladies and gentlemen. Do you hear me? But for real though, it's like, here's the thing though. Most people, like, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I hope not Canon drops something, but I hope Sony drops something, because I'm like, I wonder if they get too complacent, drop something good. Because if they get too complacent, I'm like, dag, okay, who's going to step up? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I have no loyalties in that regard. It's like, I'm loyal to my content. I'm loyal to my community. I'm loyal to, you know what I'm saying, getting the stuff that I need done. So if I had to add, like, let's say, I don't know, a Nikon Z6 Mark III, and it was just like the Bee's Knees Hall of Fame, then that's what's getting added to the group. You know what I'm saying? It's a Sony sensor anyway, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But, it's like, but my whole thing is like, it's not like I love what Sony provides, but if Sony don't provide, then why stick around? So you got to look at, when you're upgrading, is it an upgrade to your efficiency? Is it an upgrade to the quality and what it now makes possible, because you have a sensor that's not compromised, meaning that it's not like super duper limited. You have, a lens lineup that allows you to, get a whole nother kind of depth and look that you never had before. I know a lot of people watch they'll look at it and see a price of a camera. Like, let's say you go to a Facebook marketplace, they'll see something for $300 or $400, and they're like, oh, let me go look at when this camera came out and what people were saying, and find the videos of people who love it, which is always, and see, oh, well, it's not that bad, or look at the quality they were able to pull out. The difference is, you are brand new potentially. You don't have the skills to be able to know how to work with the limitations yet. And how long is it going to take for you to develop those skills to be able to always maneuver those limitations? And that's my thing. I buy sometimes, most of the time, efficiency and systems. I'm not buying a brand. I'm not buying anything other than that. Quality is always a bonus. You know what I'm saying? Features are always a bonus. But I'm buying the efficiencies and stuff that it provides. Not having to get additional lights means get a camera that had a better camera with a better sensor that's not compromised, and get a better lens. I don't have to have my lights just like before. It was like, just trying to get rid of some of the sprinkles in the background or the noise. But, that was the frustration was like, dag, it's like, how much more lights I'm gonna have to add? You know, that's why Micro Four Thirds didn't work out indoors, because I'm like, no, I'm not finna keep playing this game. For some people, they love it. Yeah, I'm like, some people, they love it. I'm like, but for what would be a 120 or a 180 for the ISO or 160 ISO on a Sony camera is 800 ISO on a Micro Four Thirds camera. So it's like, where, you know, I'm like, no, I'm not finna play that game. So we're going to get into. Go ahead, Doc.
It's kind of crazy. Transition. No, I was just saying, Mr. Keith over here fried his A6600, putting a dummy battery on a V-mount battery. Wow, that's painful, bro. I was like, one time for the Sony, if I had some liquor, I'd pour it out real quick. One thing I just wanted to say, you did a really good piece on IG, and I know we talk about it all the time, but I think it's great when you take those conversations and convert them into an image. You were explaining to somebody like how you are, how you're buying a problem when you buy a camera that's under what you really need, how you end up basically buying a problem.
Oh yeah.
Because now you got to go add more lights and add a bunch of other things or whatever. And then Kevin brought up, that's what I was going to say. Kevin brought up a pretty good comment about, you know, maybe your older stuff will bring value to somebody else. And that's the thing. Like, the whole point of this, family, is don't get necessarily caught up in the new thing came out, so I have to get it right now. But if you start working your business in a manner that you are able to make those changes ad hoc without, you know, it being a thing, then start to plan for it now. Do something like every piece of income that I earn doing whatever it is that I'm doing, make an entirely brand new bank account. Online bank accounts, most of them have no fees. Okay. Take 10 to 15% of whatever you make. You folks call it tithing. I just call it proper business management, and send it to that account where it sits and it doesn't get moved. So if Sony drops a $3,000 camera, you know, a year from the time you started streaming, you probably have $3,000 in that account if you've been working, if you've been doing various things. When someone in the family, you know, all of us are older, but our grandparents and our parents, for some reason, still think we're kids. Every once in a while, for no reason whatsoever, at 50 plus, my dad will break off 100, like I need lunch money.
I take it.
And
may the Lord bless you and keep
so
you
at
always.
First I used to not want to take it. But now, instead of taking it and then buying some Tutankhamun, I'll just put that in the gear thing, because one thing Dad would want me to do is be gear ready. That's what I was taught. And so that's what so I would take that and slide it in my little gear fundage. So if you walk in the grocery store and you find a 20, don't spend it. Put it in your gear account. Like, literally go today, ally.com, gobank.com. I hate Walmart. I would have used that one. Discover.com, Capital One, 360. There's all these free bank accounts you can get. Just start peeling your buy me a coffee change and sticking some of it over there, so that when Panasonic, Sony, Nikon, whoever comes out, whatever, you can look at your gear fund and be like, this is what this money is for. And keep it separate from your ramen money.
Yeah.
Like, just completely take it out of the picture.
Honestly, one of the things that I did when I was learning better financial management is looking at where my money is. You know, it's always that whole map of where are you at? Like when we used to go to the mall, it's like, where are you at? Okay, where am I starting from to get to where I'm trying to go? And really got to know not just how much you usually have left over after you done doing whatever at the end of the month, but like for real. And I looked at just like from vending machines at the time when I was working, to fast food, going out to lunch, going out sometimes for dinner or whatever afterwards, just hanging out with coworkers or whatever. Expenses got to be $250 to $300 a month. I don't know where I figured that was okay, but you don't see the small amounts. You don't see the $2. You don't see the $1. You don't see the 50 cents. You don't see, and that's not to be a penny pincher, but it's just to understand how it adds up and where is it going. I took that money and put it to the side and was able to fix my credit and was able to do some other stuff, because it's like, it's real easy to get that money just solely looking at what you have. And that's not to say you can't ever have a bag of chips or something, but it's like $250 worth. You know, it's like it adds up. You know what I'm saying?
It becomes a thing where you have to think of, I think you said it recently and I've heard it like 6 times since. So when I hear these things from a friend or from a book or a podcast or something, and you hear it over and over again, I start to be like, okay, they talking to you. It was like success is what you say no to.
Mm.
Say it, Keith, say it for the people in the back. Success is what you say no to. And I was like, oh, snap. I never really thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, some of the things that you say no to could just be as simple as getting an extra what is it, biggie size. I don't go to fast food, so I don't know what they call it. But
I don't know. It used to be, I don't know, like super size, what it used to be, I think, at McDonald's back in the day.
Like if you could satiate yourself with a standard issue meal, like making it extra size for $3 more or $2 more, whatever it comes out to, and you do that, like twice a week, fam, that's like 700-800 bones.
Yeah, 100%.
You could have just, and you probably are full with the regular size, but you want to be full, and it'll save your life.
Bloated.
so like, yeah, learning how to step away from the biggie size, and I'm a big dude. Trust me, it's not about the food; it's about that trick that they sold us on is not really that much bigger, and you're probably full at the regular size, and just the concept of being more comfortable, whatever. And then if you go to the same place all the time, you just make friends with the people there, and then they give you extra fries. So
exactly, you paying for the bag of fries you was gonna get, or you go where they do give you more or something like that. But it's like, honestly, it's like when you do pay attention to, because I know it's like we're going to talk about the gear, we're going to get into some of the rumors, but the thing is to understand, like, it's not just like, it's like, oh man, that's expensive, especially when it drops. Usually if it's a good drop or something like that, it may be $1,500, $2,000 camera or something like that. And I remember I used to think that way. I used to think like, who's paying $300 for a lens? Now looking at it, it's like drop $1,000 on the lens. It's like, oh, that wasn't that bad. It's like, as far as like, it's like, oh, it's okay.
$300 lenses. Is that horrible? I'm like terrified of $300 lenses. Like, this is going to suck. When I find one under that's good, I'm like, oh, okay. I see you, fam.
Exactly. It's not the price. It's just the what goes into the quality of what you're looking at. Just like I saw in a group, somebody posted like for a kit lens, they was like, does it make sense to pay to get it replaced? And I'm like, why are you trying to pay to get it like repaired or something like that? You can usually find just about any kit lens for like $100 on like Facebook. Like most people don't, that they sell it as a bundle just so you have a lens with it. So I'm like, you could get a camera body with the kit lens on it for a little or nothing, depending on what mount that you're buying from. I'm like, but that just goes like, but that person that's new, that's sincerely asking that question, and they listen to the wrong person up front, they gonna have a hard time when it comes to gear because they're being educated improperly. And somebody wouldn't tell them, well, just go pick up such and such camera body, because usually they throw the kit lens in it for, I don't know, another $25, $50. You can have that and a secondary body or something like that, maybe a top down shot, versus they'd be like, oh yeah, send it into the repair system because they're great. And it's like, now you got a $250, $300 for nothing, where that could have got you like your first prime lens or something like that, or some accessories that you needed. But it's like, when you think about buying a new camera purchase, really look into like things that we talked about a moment ago, which is like the efficiencies. What is it going to add to, and what is it going to solve for you? And also looking at the learning curve, to be honest with you, when it comes to do you know how to do what you see people doing on the video? And if you're trying to learn how to do that, how long is it going to take you to learn that? Now, what, Doc? Because you just itching.
No, I'm laughing at Keith, man.
Wait a minute. Doctor.
No, but his comment is what we're talking about, so that's why I'm laughing at Keith. His comment is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah,
and I was there for the story when it happened, and so man, it's crazy.
All right, so we got our first up camera. Y'all know we're going to team hashtag Sony land. We're going over to the new rumor. The Sony, it's a new rumor. It's the Sony a6700. 32 megapixel 4K 60 vlog, which is their log profile that you usually would see in some of the other stuff, but I don't know about that one. But it says vlog focus camera, or vlog, which is I don't know why they did that, because now I'm thinking like, they don't have V-Log. They're like, they got S-Log too. So that caught me off guard. But they usually have, so side note, I wonder if they're going to put like an S-Cinetone in here, but that's to be neither here nor there. Some other things to say: the announcement is supposed to be late this May, supposed to be a replacement to the A6600. Same general body form factor, smaller improvements that they took from the ZV-1 and A7C, quote unquote, branded as a vlogger camera. 32 megapixels though, 4K 60 10-bit video. I'm guessing that's in body. And then readout to 10-bit 17 milliseconds. Interesting. Form factor identical to the Sony A7C. Doc, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so first of all, I think if it will probably have the Bion's sensor or the Exmor Bion sensor.
Yeah.
So all of the picture profiles that we're used to will be there. Some of them will be upgraded because they are upgraded in the ZV-1 and the A7C. Mm-hmm. So I can say those are probably going to be there for sure. The 10-bit at 17 milliseconds just has to do with the really, really high raw video frame rate with basically the throughput and stuff. So that means you're just going to get in English for normal folks, that just means that the image quality will be insane from the video standpoint. Those picture profiles and stuff, some of us use it for streaming, some of us don't, but it will come in handy when your camera is off the tripod and you're outside, because one thing that Sony cameras bring into picture that not a lot of their contemporaries do, including the brand new Blackmagic Pocket 6K. That sucker is 14 stops of dynamic range. The Sonys that we all have 15 stops of dynamic range. A full stop is a lot in image darkness, right? If you go in your camera right now, most of us by default have our cameras set up for a third of a stop. So when you take the F and you go to kank, that's a full stop, right? So if you move your slider 3 ticks and your picture be dark as hell, that's a full stop. A full stop is actually a lot, right? So when you take a camera and you add 15 stops of dynamic range with one of those picture profiles, that means if you guys go outside and for some reason you have to shoot in the dark, like the shadow, like it's like the sun is up or whatever, but the tree just be like in your way or the building just be in your way, it will allow you to have a picture that looks like this, because when you go to edit, it'll pull all that stuff up. It's going to look funny in your viewfinder, but if you read the histogram like you're supposed to, you'll be fine, right? The other thing is when you have to shoot into the sun, right? And you're either you, because you're vlogging, or your subject is doing one of these numbers, you'll be perfectly fine. It might look blown out, but when you get it into Final Cut and you throw the HDR joint on there and it goes la, la, and you're like, whoa, you can really dance.
That's funny, because I'll see people that complain, or they'll go get a GoPro and return their A6100, M50 Mark II, or M6, whatever they bought, mirrorless camera, and return it and just get a GoPro or use their phone, because their phone figures it out. But in a camera, you have to learn what you're doing. And I remember somebody sent me a DM. They sent it on like Instagram or something. They was like, why when I faced the window, and it was M50, they was like, how come when I'm sitting and I'm trying to play, then I'm trying to expose for me, but then you can't see anything, and it's a beautiful day. They got this big, huge window. It's like it's a dope frame that he did. But he's like, well, why can't? I'm like, because your camera can't expose like that. I said, you would have to expose for the window, which means you're going to be dark, which means you now need to have diffusion and proper lighting that you can adjust, as well as the white balance and the temperature on there. I said, so you're going to completely have to do. I said, even with that though, you now have to go through all these extra other steps, because you need to decide. I said, if you just solely are taking your camera base with the Kitlin, I think, or something like that, you're just taking it base out the box, you pointed at something, it's going to pick one or the other. It's not doing the both. I'm like, so if you want to see the day, you need to expose for that window, which means you're now going to be dark. You need now to gently light yourself so that you're properly exposed. And that's now other stuff that you have to deal with every time you want to set up this shot. Whereas when you have a camera that has the dynamic range that it can see from bright to dark more easily, you don't have to, you still would more or less probably have to still go through some of those steps, but it wouldn't have to be as much of a hassle. It's not that big of a deal. That's where a good sensor that's not compromised matters. It's one thing if you have controlled lighting and basic lenses or the same lens or whatever, and you sit and you point that camera at yourself and like, oh, they look the same. They ain't doing nothing. Like it don't have to, it's not working. The camera's not working. It's like, I wasted my money on these Sony cameras. But I want to show real quick, this was not part of the plan of the cameras because it's not a rumor. This camera is already released. But this is that Blackmagic 6K, Pocket 6K camera that they just came out with that you were just talking about though, Doc. This is a beast. This is a legit cinema camera for those that don't know. But this is the one, you said how many stops of dynamic range did this one have specifically?
14.
Okay. Because I know they did the 4K was amazing. Then they came out with the 6K, and now this is the 6K Pro, I think, or something that they came out with. But this essentially the 6K though. But it's like, I love their menu system on the Blackmagic cameras, and you get all of these professional stuff. Like, you see how thick this body is to have two, it was that mini XLR ports. You have the mini XLR ports, first of all, is the bee's knees Hall of Fame. It's these right here, right? Then you got a USB-C, a full HDMI, microphone, headphone jack, the sync cable, and then you also, that's the bolt right there, so that don't count. But you have all of this stuff right here. That, and you look how thick this mug is. No joke, it's thick. That's why mirrorless cameras are what they are. Otherwise, you get this beast of a behemoth that you want to carry around, and it's a DSLR mount. They use the the EF.
The EF mount.
Yeah, and that's going to run you for that performance, $2,495 US,
which is cheap actually. If you count what it does, it's cheap, but they're not used to it because you'll find out when you get into this area. Like Luis will tell you. Luis knows. Kevin knows.
So it's like, so in the Sony cameras generally, you said for that one, comparison of dynamic range though between that one and the Sony sensors are what?
Well, normally you'll find sometimes 2 whole stops of difference between most of the cameras that are out in these streets. So what that means to the streamer is like when you want to pull off a look like I tend to pull off, which is I'm lit, whatever, all of that stuff back there is dark, but it looks balanced. That's because I have enough dynamic range to do so. So you'll have people in the community be like, yo, I got the Sigma 16, blah, 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 but I'm on a Canon 50 and I can't get it to look quite like yours. Number one, you ain't got these jeans. Number two, your camera doesn't have enough dynamic range to show you all of those differentiations in light. If you go back and look at some of my early stuff when I had that area like dark, and then Felicia was like, no, you need to put some more light back. So I did it. Sorry, I'm not dumb. I'm gonna listen to Felicia because she might hit me. She was the one that said add a little some stuff back there. So that's when I moved the bookshelf. Remember, I used to have a bookshelf back there and did some other things. And I'm still working on this because it's an ever evolving process. But yeah, you guys that have cameras with less dynamic range, you're not going to necessarily pull off the look like myself or even you. Like looking at yours where you have your lights in the back, your wall pops, but then your books are there, but they're in bokeh, but they're clear. Now, I don't know if you guys can understand that. There's a difference to have a bokeh. It's still clear. And what I mean by that is it's not any,
what is it, Gaussian? It's not any kind of
Gaussian.
Gaussian. It's not distorted. Gaussian. That's the difference.
Yes. It's not pixelated or pixels moving because they can't see, or you're getting basically bit artifacts where you get these gigantic squares that like move along. And that's when you have a dope dynamic range. Like you can see if we had the sagittal flares, if you were to zoom in to the lights that are on Mrs. D's picture frame back there, don't do it. It will have a defined shape around those little lights that are coming from that picture frame back there,
Right.
that's because of good dynamic range, also good blades on the Sigma. So
And this is
yeah,
this is actually the
actually
Sony,
the
Sony
Sony,
35 f1.8. But the thing is, from Doc's camera to my camera, you're looking at the Sony a6400, and it's like for some people, this is a lit area. Those are lights there, and then like just for like that section right there, there is no light. And so honestly, that's not as easy for some cameras to identify. They're either going to expose for this, me, or that. They don't know how to do all three. And it's not any complex lighting. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen on IG stories like how I just wall mounted my lights now. So I mean, and it's pretty much the same. It's a two light setup, but it's actually 4 lights in the room. So it's like for it to go from it to have lighting, and it's not distorted, it's still soft, and then you see here looks is darker but not as extremely well lit. It's like for it to be balanced like that, or like how Doc, you got Vader and you can see different stuff of the Vader, and then the other side of the room, it's like cameras that have compromised sensors, meaning that they aren't, like, they're crippled. There's no other way to put it. They're crippled in the sense that for what the sensor could do, the manufacturer dialed it down, or they just gave you a crappy sensor. It's harder to do those things. So when you buy cheap, you buy the problems that come with being cheap. So when you try to replicate expensive, they can't coexist. It just can't. And so it's like to get
Digital
thrown
Buddha,
off.
take yourself the time out right now.
What did he say? I'm concerned. I'm concerned.
Mr. Camera Junkie, I'm saying that what I'm saying is, I'm not confusing the bokeh with the pixelation. I'm saying that when you have a low dynamic range camera, you end up with pixelation instead of bokeh, even if your camera is at 5.6, which is supposed to be all focus. All right. So anyway, I think that the A6600 will be a dope buy if it comes out as expected. The one thing that I really would like them to do that will make the difference for me, though, is if they bump up to the Z batteries. Right now, batteries don't bother me because we're stuck in the house. But when I get outside, I want more batteries.
So the A6600 does have it. The A64 doesn't. I think what we can kind of expect with the Sony.
Oh yeah, that's great. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but you got the other full frame body, so. I mean, everything is compatible, but the thing is, it's like in the battery life of the A6400, which is why it's like your ideal streaming camera. And not that you can't do stuff. I did when it was like an NFL event for the Rams when they used to be the St. Louis Rams, and so they did like this gala event or whatever, super duper nice. Had an outdoor setting.
Some small sadness there.
You know, it's whatever, man. I'm not going there today. All right. The disrespect is real. First of all, I'm going there. How you gonna leave and then y'all suck? We get to build a new stadium. All this tax dollars go into it. Build a new stadium. It's super nice. Overpriced beer, overpriced snacks. And then you leave, and now everybody's like, yay, go Rams, and they win and all this extra other stuff. Then get a series on Netflix over the... Never mind. Moving on.
You could be the Raiders. We got a series on HBO. We left and we still suck. So, well, hey.
You know what? It's just the idea. But anyway, speaking of compromised teams, let's go over to the Nikon Z30. Let's take a look at... The Z30 is the rumored camera that is going to be for I don't know if they're doing like an upgrade or downgrade kind of a path with this. I'm hoping that since the Z50 that came out is like kind of like your M50 equivalent kind of a deal, like that starter APS-C line, I'm hoping that they decide to let this one be slightly better. But this is supposed to be announced within the next 2 to 3 months. Allegedly, this is going to be their APS-C camera, which the body design, honestly, Nikon does a fantastic job at their grips. And if you've ever held one in person, they actually feel extremely comfortable and the bodies feel extremely durable. They do use Sony sensors in there. It's just like the Nikon menu system or whatever, which kind of looks ridiculous in my opinion. But this is what the mock-up is saying that it could look like. So you're not going to get like where other cameras have a ton of dials and stuff like that on there. But you would see, like, if you pay attention here, You have these, this would be like your ISO, your, what are the different buttons on that? It's kind of like a Panasonic kind of a thing. They have like the ISO, the something else, and whatever else kind of a stuff. I usually set one to be like my audio.
The AEL.
Yeah, auto exposure lock.
Automatic exposure lock.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's like, but that's kind of what you can expect from some of that. I'm glad that they shaved off the EVF because most people don't use them, and it makes the body a little bit slicker, you know, a little bit more portability. To be honest, the Nikon Z6 is actually internally, like from the build on the inside, it's a fantastic camera. So like I was shocked that, and we're going to show you some footage of the Z50 that when they dropped it, it was kind of like sucky. So that's what sucks. So, you know, I don't know. As far as Nikon, it's very conflicting simply because they're right there. They're right there to do a lot of fantastic things, and they just keep dropping the ball. Ridiculous.
So this kind of comes into play, I think, primarily because they, for right now, are trying to get somebody to do part of their homework. So they are stuck making decisions around somebody else's decisions, and then they lose a little identity in deciding what they want to do. Yeah. One thing the dope though, flop the screen from the bottom player. Actually like that. I like that.
Hell no. Hell no.
Not for me to look at because I'm going to like vlog like that, but it's just different because it allows you to have the EVF on top if you have a removable EVF.
No, bro, that's why you side flippy screens is the way of the future. I don't use
flippy at all, actually.
You know what, Doc? All right. Thanks for joining us for today's stream. Doc will be back with us next week. No,
it's just funny because the reason why is when you got a big head, right, and your center frame, when you start looking to the side or looking at it's obvious. So I kind of, once I get my shot set up, I'll close it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's very easy to be like, hey, okay, guys, look, Doc is cross-eyed.
But I mean, like, here's the thing though, but I think it comes with experience though. And here's the frustrating thing is I would rather have it and decide to not use it than at the times where it is convenient and I now have to do work around Central. Because so here's, for example, here's a scenario where exactly what you're saying, where you don't want to be looking weird faced and stuff and just like constantly looking at the lens, where even on live stream you see people looking over here like the whole live stream, and it's just like, where are you at? Like, where are you going? You just see, like, you see him like, where you
That's
coming
because
back?
I bought this
back?
34-inch beast and to be over there. I'll be like, oh.
To Doc's credit, he has a monitor that makes him do like this to see the whole stream. So if you see Doc just twirling, he ain't twitching. He just trying to see that whole big super curved wide
so
monitor.
It's going to get worse.
It's crazy. I mean, but you think about the flip down screen. Okay, I get it. Like having the EVF, but just flip that mug out to the side. Like it's, so if you're going to speak and you're doing your own speaking engagements, which, in-person stuff is starting to fill back up now. So it's about like a 60-40 to the 50-50, depending on where you live, with, people starting to try to get a feel for things. Okay, you go to do this speaking engagement, you want to record your talk and you want to just set up a shot that you can use and that works for you. You're not going to be able to look at the screen. So I get it. Whether it flips down, upside, it kind of don't matter because you won't need it. However, if you do have somebody that's trying to help you with something, there's those weird situations that come up like that may be otherwise 80% okay in the regular way that you plan to use it. But the few times, like I know for me personally, I've been sitting there, person wants to film their talk, a flip screen being able to come out to the side that I can see it helps, so I can see if they got a camera with a 30-minute recording limit, which the Nikons do, then I could just see start, stop recording if it has a touch screen, or at least hit the button or whatever if they got a remote, whatever the case is. Yeah. But I at least can see and keep focusing and taking my notes or whatever, and vice versa.
Here's what they're doing. Here's exactly what they're doing. Now that I think about it, because I always have to remind people of this. Number one thing that's going to be problematic with the flip down is going to be because your tripod, if you're using a Pat Flynn over here, Caleb Wojak, slim switch pod,
It's a
right?
Slim
You
Jim.
can't do it. Sorry.
Step into a Slim Jim.
Stealing cars. The bottom flip, you can't do it, right? When you use any type of thing like that, even some of your gimbals, like, it's not going to work. So yes, I can see that being a mistake. I do think two things they did. Number one, it is coming from Japan. A lot of the anime crew model sect out there, they love Nikon just for the fact of staying true to the culture. So having it like that, when you're doing what is literally called the Asian angle, shoot up, head here, body down, make yourself look longer, that's an angle. So maybe they thought they were going after that cosplay anime sect. They all shoot up, down across the body to give a slender look, which is weird for people that's already skinny, but it's a thing. And then the other thing is not wanting to pay Panasonic. So like they're like, we're going to save money by not wanting to pay Panasonic for the royalty to have a fully articulating screen, and then not wanting to pay the tariff to get the recording limit removed.
And that's one of those faults in branding your business. And as huge as Nikon is, for me to be chastising them about them seems super backwards. However, this is what mistaken and understanding your brand, your branding, and literally the thing around creating true fans in your community is understanding that when you serve your people first and you make service-centered decisions, they will work for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they will go to bat for you. And it's like either your company is going to make service-centered decisions or self-centered decisions. It's always going to be a mix of some, but stuff like that, not wanting to pay pay them, give them extra for because I mean, like, here's the thing, because here, when you have people that are now where they're at, you have nothing, you have no cameras essentially that are worth picking up. So when this big boom happened that nobody could have guessed with the pandemic, you have nothing for me to buy. You have no buy buttons worth buying. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me to put my card in. And most people that bought it already were Nikon elitists in some respect, or like they enjoy the brand, or they enjoyed some of the specs because I know them doing some stuff externally through the external monitor and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, yeah, that's fine for those small sect group of people, but you didn't allow for new people to come and learn and love and get to know who you are. You didn't allow space for it. So there's nobody that you're bringing new to your market. You're just kind of recycling your people, where it's like, to be honest, over these last 5 years, Sony's developed a whole just squad of people that rock with them. Even if they buy other stuff, they still rock with them. There's no shortage of dollars right now. Most Cephas the Black Poet already done sent 3 of the executives' kids to school on his own dime. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot. But also not paying attention to the recommendations, because it's not just a one-to-one purchase. You got to think the one-to-many principle. So if it's one thing if I bought a camera and maybe let's say I'm an author and my channel is about writing books, I'm not talking about cameras. You may have the once a year video of here's what you're using for your setup to answer the question that when people ask that, but you're not thinking about that. But when people do ask, that one-to-many now principle comes in play of I'm going to buy what the person that I'm learning from, that I respect, and that I want to emulate and be like uses. And so now you almost got 30 sales off of that one channel because people are buying. It's like, I got a ton of people. Just like I saw a young lady today posting that she's getting rid of her Canon M50 and buying Sony. I didn't ask any questions or whatever the case is, but you know, it's like people move with their money. And when you see people making decisions based off their pocketbook, as my grandma would say, and that's something. And I think it's called the influencer market, but it's really not. It's major companies tapping into small businesses. That's honestly what it is. Small business entrepreneurship is now starting to dominate in brands.
It's so funny. Like Influence has been there since day one, but like they like people like to slap fancy buzz names on stuff and make it sound better and make it sound expensive and then make it sound like let me control this so I can make more money. But influence has been there since day one. When you get ready to go get some tires, right? You call up your homies and you be like, yo, man, like I know you just got some tires and stuff. Like what works for you? And they're like, oh yeah, go see Dennis over at Lex Brody's. That's a legit place down the street and a legit person. And then so everybody buy their tires from Dennis and Lex Brody's. So long before we had social media influencer marketer, we had, let me ask my homie, where can I get the link? You know, what's the plug? What's the connect? You know, and then say, hey man, you got a plug on kicks. Oh yeah. Go see Eddie at Foot Locker. Tell him I sent you. He'll give you my discount. All right, cool. So we had influencer marketing from back in the street. I mean, ever since you started getting street pharmaceuticals way back in the 1800s, you had influencer marketing. So
100%, 100%.
Stop like co-opting words. And Rob, to I'm gonna just get mad at Rob because he's messing with me. Nippon Kogaku Kyogo Kabushika Gaisha. Nippon, not Nippon. So therefore Nikon. That's what it's short for. Now go away.
Well, what I've learned from Japanese culture is or something like that when they say damn it in anime. So that's the best I got. Ni hao or something like that for a big brother.
Ni hao is Chinese.
No. No, I'm serious. Like I'm probably saying
oni.
it wrong, but it's like big
oni.
bro or big brother.
Yeah.
It's like that's how at least how the anime was saying it. If they say it wrong, it ain't my fault. It is a Japanese cartoon, all right, or a Japanese anime. So
this guy.
That's what I got. Ramen.
Makatsuku is damn it. Makatsuku.
Why do they say it like that? Never mind. I'm out here.
There's probably some other ones, but that's just one of the most. We're not gonna teach you how to swear in Japanese. Let's talk about Canon.
Let's talk about Canon.
Speaking of swearing in Japanese, then.
Okay.
I'll get if they say aho in anime, they're saying aho.
Okay.
Aho.
Got you. Well, we're looking at a brand that is such an... No, I'm just kidding. We're looking at the promo that Canon dropped for their new R3 that they are saying is supposed to be this revolutionary camera, but is not going to be a flagship mirrorless camera. It is supposed to be allegedly a photography-based camera, but some of the interesting technology frames per second, they are supposed to be dropping some technology where it's like, it's not just human and eye autofocus, but when you move your actual eye, the autofocus is going to track with your actual eyeball, allegedly.
Now that I'm down with. That's the what the heck kind of noise was that?
It was something about it was something about the it's one of these clicks in here or something like that, the movie mode or something, but I noticed that, so I'm gonna have to see what's up with the overlay. But I don't know. I fixed it in one scene. I don't think I fixed it in that one.
That's the what do you call that? We have the reticle, the optical reticle in helicopters, right? So when you fly an Apache, when I look at you from 800 feet and I press the
it's going there.
Like I don't have to like try to aim because I'm doing, freaking couple hundred miles an hour when I'm flying through the air. But whenever the pilot looks ahead, like that's where the 20 mic goes with it, right? That's the on the bottom. So man, bringing that to the picture, come on, son.
That's actually part of their old technology that they had when they came out. It was, this is super old, honestly. I think either like early 90s or something like that or whatever. But it was in a DSLR camera. But this is when a lot of brands were doing gimmicky stuff, like the stuff where it would say something back like underexposed, overexposed. Like it was just like super robotic. It was like them trying to get into the 21st century kind of a stuff. And so they had it, but it just didn't work well. Now they have it, and it kind of makes sense when you do have the the tracking stuff. So now they can combine some of their old technology with some of their new technology, which I find I think is extremely fascinating how well they'll pull this off. I think they probably gonna do a pretty good job. That's my hopes and stuff. Anyway, I think they're gonna do a pretty good job. Wait, Vanessa said that camera is ugly and looks heavy. Hey. So, yes.
Oh, okay, Gigi.
It is. But these are the people that you are asking to take a look at your new product, and they be hella proud, and that's the like, yeah, that camera's ugly, like on some real stuff.
I just wanted to start singing, "These are the people in your neighborhood." Oh, Gigi just put a brick in that one. So moving on.
Right. So that's actually modeled like the body build of the R3. This is their is their flagship DSLR wannabe mirrorless, almost amazing camera, but it's big and huge as hell. But it has the reason why it's a built-in extra battery grip, but not just a battery grip. It actually has down here the extra button. So when photographers and videographers, people that's your Olympic people and all of that stuff, they would, be able to rotate the camera. So no matter what orientation, they're able to get in there. And so it has stuff like this on the back of it. I mean, they're really fantastic, but yes, they're very ugly.
That was just funny, bro.
It is what it is.
All day funny.
I mean, I don't get it, but at the same time, I get it. But they're saying, so Canon actually came out with some information around this, because they did officially announce the development of this camera early last month in April. And so they are saying that it is going to be a full frame mirrorless camera. It's supposed to be, good in sensitivity, so in lower light situations. But we do have the Olympics that's coming up. So I guess people that not necessarily, because I can already see them already having like the 1DX Mark II or 3 or something else for that. But I think they're trying to at least get an upgradable path before people get into their 1DX Mark III, and then eventually what is going to be the quote unquote the best mirrorless Olympic camera that would be coming within the next 3 or so years. But they're saying it's not actually supposed to be an upgrade to the 1DX Mark III, but it is supposed to be something for photographers. But I think this is weird though. I think it's really weird because you look at these specs, right? Eye controlled autofocus with the ability to set your focus point in the viewfinder. You have a lower rolling shutter, back illuminated buttons, 35 millimeter full frame construction, dual pixel autofocus, weather resistant, integrated vertical grip, all of this extra other stuff. But that's going to be heavy as hell. Most people are used to a smaller form factor. Like, what was it? One of the NFL games or something like that. They was rocking all Sony.
Yeah, it was.
It don't take all that.
And so that's one of the reasons why the FX3, as much as people that don't understand the industry, okay, here's a problem with YouTubers. Number one, going all the way back to what Kim said back in the day, because I'm with her now. Now I cannot watch people whose channel where they're like talking the whole time to this, because I'm like, bro, you looking at me, you remind me of my cross-eyed cousin Stevie. Sorry, Stevie. I'm going to hell. Sorry, Grandma. But yes, like a lot of them, they understand the industry as far as the industry is, but don't understand the overall industry as a whole. The reason why the FX3 is dope is because when you are doing a in-car scene, where you're doing a scene where I need to mount 20 cameras, a bunch of $3,000 like bodies with 100 screw holes in it, uses all the same mount system as my FX3, as my A7 IIIs, as my larger cameras all the way up to the FX5.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a cheaper ecosystem for a production company, right? Now, I take an FX3 and throw it on the tripod and stare at it all day to make YouTube videos, maybe it don't make sense. But screw one on the bottom of one of these dope higher end inspired drones and stuff and fly that sucker around the stadium all day, right? Running around in a like a full jacket,
Yeah, I know
steady
what you're talking
cam
about.
and things like that. Again, dope all day. So a lot of times what happens is they're thinking about it from, hey, I'm going on a trip to Japan and I'm going to vlog about it, videos. FS3 wasn't built for you, fam. It's a cinema camera. It's not intended to be like, oh, but when you take photos, it's only 24 megapixel sensor. Yeah, no kidding, because it's not for taking photos. It's not a hybrid camera. It can, but it's designed for shooting video in an underwater housing, in some sort of mounting system, hence all the damn screw holes. You know what I'm saying? So they get one-sided because it doesn't match what they're attempting to do. So again, to Glenessa's point, yes, that camera is ugly, but one thing that it brings to the table is not having to throw the grip on the bottom, right? The grip is built in. So like you just grab that camera and turn. So for the wedding photo guys and for the food photo guys and, product photography, real estate, architectural, just standard portraiture, newsies, all of the above, dope camera. Like they're going to run with it. Throwing it on the tripod and sit here, hey, look at me, Doc. I'm talking to you today from this gigantic, ugly Canon, not what it's for. So like if you're speaking French to a Australian, it might not make sense.
I mean, I think that the thing is options. I've seen more, and I watch a lot of like true photographers that do out landscaping. They do the bird like they do all kinds of stuff. When they are describing what they are looking for, the thing that I think that some of the brands like Canon are missing for that small subset of their community that would buy a camera like that is the fact that a lot of them want options. And if they wanted to bring both or something, most of them don't mind paying for something that is a smaller form factor generally compared to the behemoth so that they have options. If I want to put it on a gimbal, if I did want to go take it out and rotate it, I can. And so like that made me think of like you go from a camera body that's like this 1DX Mark III, which is similar to like we saw with the R3 that's coming out. You see it's got this kind of like this weird framing or whatever. Specs are incredible. Still looks the same like this big old body. But then you also got the Sony A1 that has the Z batteries in it. That's already for photographers, already fantastic. Same price. Now you find them on the used market and stuff like that. And it's a much slender body, and you can get a battery grip if you want one or when you need one, versus it's always baked into the camera. So I think it's going to be interesting.
That's the thing for me, because I have battery grips. I just don't want it stuck to my camera. I was just looking to see where it is in the room. It's behind the iMac. I don't want to leave it stuck there all the time because, man, I can tell you point blank, man, nothing sucks more than you're walking, taking this long ride on the Shinkansen, and you get out, your arms are tired, and you got this stinking battery grip that even when you take it off and throw it in the backpack with 2 batteries in it, it's heavy. Yeah. So I don't need that. I'm going to the temple. I got to be slow shutter. I can't make a lot of noise because I'm being respectful. I'm going to use my flat pancake 50 so that, the camera body even looks smaller because I don't want to pull out this in the middle of a temple is just not a good look. It's not what it's for. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be respectful.
But that's the thing. Even lenses are getting smaller. So like last week we looked at, the difference in the new Sigma lenses that are coming out versus the Sony lenses and stuff that are coming out. Okay, when we think about that, the lenses are, unless you're getting, something specific to your craft, and it is that bazooka kind of a lens, but the 85s aren't the huge 85s of old. The 50 millimeters aren't the 50 millimeters. Like it's not, there's no, like everybody's making smaller, more compact, sharper lenses. The camera bodies are following suit. And I think like the R3 is still Canon not wanting to let go of their DSLR stuff, but saying that they're moving forward with mirrorless. And it's kind of like, you could swap the sensors out. Yeah, I could have did that back in 2018, but The thing is, though, it's like people don't. I don't know if people really want that anymore. And we could be wrong just because, you know, we're in more or less the video space. But to be honest, any other photographers and stuff, like even some of them have gone to Panasonic for their photography needs because they may not care about low light. Like that's not, their work doesn't require it. With the stabilization, the fast autofocus, because that in photography, the depth from defocus system that Panasonic has is actually fast in photography. And it's sharp. The lenses are good. They're like, I don't like, what's the point? So I think they may, especially when Canon honestly don't have solid mirrorless bodies out that are full frame bodies, like, and I mean like ride or die cameras. The R5 and the R6, I'm sorry, just aren't, in my opinion. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just not the same. They don't seem like they came out of the box with problems. So you have now this reputation being developed of unreliable cameras in your mirrorless lineup, or highly crippled cameras in your mirrorless lineup. So on no front, and then they having overheating issues, not from people setting them in the sun in 145 degrees heat with humidity or popping it in the oven, not that kind of stuff. I mean, like in real use, you know, it's like, it's not hard to see why people switch to Sony, Panasonic, hell, even Nikon.
That's funny because like like here, I mean, you're doing an outside wedding in the middle of summer, and then it's already hot, and your camera can't handle that, and he fires up the sensors and they shut it down. Mm-hmm. Like that's just bad. Like, I mean, it's a sad one. And then even if you think about, like, it's been in the backpack, and you know most camera bags are black. You know, now you know you got some f-stoppers and some guys out there that make, you know, kind of multicolor pack, but the camera's hot when you pull it out because it's hot outside. Yeah, you don't want to be at Joshua Tree trying to get this epic desert image, and then you pull out your camera, that eagle is right there, and it's like, I'm finna to go get this thing, and then you go, oh, camera exhausted, overheat.
For real. I mean, it's like
come on,
like
son.
For real. I mean, like, and to Sony's credit, you know, like I did, the client wanted to do the event with their ZV-1s, and I'm like, okay, that's different. I was like, if you pull it off, you can, like, that's gonna be some whole other stuff. I'm like, but I brought A6600s as backups as well. So, but I wind up never having to use it. They ran from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. without fail, never being turned off. That's in the ZV-1. So,
boy.
Exactly, that's in the ZV-1. I set mine up, like, especially after talking with you, it's like I set mine up. I'm like, let's just see how leaving it on for forever runs. Fine.
Okay,
fine.
people, don't listen to Doc, but this A6400 has been on for over a year. It has never been off. Over a year. Like April 14th, 2020, the unspeakable, I put this A6400 on that stand right there, and it's been there ever since. And it's like, oh, you're gonna burn out this. I don't care. I'll get another one. I love it when people say, oh, but my camera can't stay on for like 30 minutes. My camera has been on for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that, because I don't want to hear about your sensor got burned, because I don't care. But
I mean, like, I can say mine's has been on for, I don't know, because sometimes if I shut the computer down, then obviously it goes into sleep mode. But that's only been like twice recently. It's just because it's just like the days and the evenings are getting longer and longer as far as like the working and stuff with different things. And it's just like, I need you to be, I don't have time to, which just sounds silly, but it's like, I don't have time to like go and like, it's just been on. And this is with the 1080p cam link as well.
This guy is using an actual Sony dummy battery, which are impossible to get now.
Yeah, and mine is too.
I got it at $130 like eons ago, but again, I didn't pay $130 for it.
So I paid $99 for 2 brand new ones, because it was for some company that had them new, just out of the box, and they were still like original zip ties and all of that.
Sony joints?
Yeah. So I got two two Sony ones, completely brand new. I got this probably at the end of 2019. I think so.
Well, and what's good about it is because it works with so many cameras too, right? It's not just a one particular camera.
Right. And so that the frustrating thing though is Sony didn't make one for the A6600. They're Z batteries. They only have some big, huge, crazy looking thing. So it's like, so you kind of have to resort to a third party brand. For me, of course, that's going to be RiceUp, or however the hell you say that company name is RiceUp, as far as I've been saying it. And so,
I believe you're right.
But they've been,
I call it the Raise Up.
The Raise Up brand.
ACPW20. That's what it means. The ACPW20. I don't know why nobody in the camera industry, nobody across the board can come up with a freaking logical name for a freaking logical part. Look, people, call it AC adapter for Sony cameras. Stop. Oh God, sorry.
I don't get it either, because I'm looking like why, you know what I'm saying? Like, is at the end of the day, it's like, why? So this is like the original Sony thing. This is what I have. I'm surprised they actually got some in stock for it, because for the longest time you could not find these mugs. But they even got a used one for 103. So if you're looking for one for your A6400 or A5100 to the A6400, all of those cameras take this particular one. So you can get one of those. But yeah, mine. So that's a good point to note, because I've had people where they're like, oh, I got a third party something for $20. Why are you spending $1,500 worth of gear of all of this stuff, and you get cheap when it comes to the powering option? It's not like it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it took me one time to learn the difference between a third party battery and a regular one. And it's like, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, I had already done the M50 one, but it's like probably within like 6 months time frame, all the third party batteries was trash in a bag. But it's kind of like you just move forward with your videos and stuff like that. But it's like, I had to tell people constantly, it's like, for the cost of what it takes to get one cheap battery, it's just better to buy a branded battery. Hell, you can even buy a used one, and it still will have more life and a better lifespan than it would for a third party battery.
Better now. Like your Wasabi and Rav Power. I forget. There's basically two third party batteries. Like
Rav
one
Power
is Wasabi and the other.
Yep.
Rav Power. They've gotten much better. I got a bunch of Wasabi batteries too. But even that, be careful of your batteries. I tend to like the Tether Tools batteries. They're not cheap, but I like them because they're orange. So in the bottom of the bag, in the I shoot Astro. So being able to see that orange battery when it falls in the damn sand is like, it's a thing. So
there's that, and then there's like stickers. I mean, I don't know. You can get a sticker. A little branded sticker, pop it on there.
I don't trust stickers. When I had my Canon 5D Mark II, I used to put everybody used to put the orange stickers on the batteries to say what's full and what's not full. I had one get hot because, hey, Canon, and the sticker did some kind of weird peel back inside the thing. I couldn't get the battery out. So what I ended up doing was hot gluing the string to the battery with the battery door open, and then just keep slowly pulling it till it finally came out. So I don't put stickers on my memory cards, Mr. Camera Junkie. I know he does. He has a cool idea where you use the white gaffer tape to write on the cards themselves. But yeah, after getting a battery stuck in the camera for a long time, I just refuse. I don't
mean like the bigger ones, but if you've ever rented from, like, say, for a company like Lens Rentals, they have like the QR code stuff to and it's a little blip of a sticker just to have.
The thing is, put it on the bottom, not the side, not the front or the side.
Not the side,
my dummy, where's that? I did that. And so that's smart. At the time I was ignorant. So like how this battery has a sticker. No, I use a white Sharpie. You can buy them. So I used a white Sharpie, and now, just right on the bottom, but putting it here, like where this goes, I'm never doing that again, because that was a very freaked out experience. I'm traumatized.
and to be honest with you, it's like I bought just like the metallic ones, because those kind of got a little glitter to them, but the white ones, because most of your stuff is black, from your lens caps to the battery covers, like whatever. So You can get like white Sharpies and stuff like that. And that's honestly my thing is like for the label that already comes on the memory cards, I write on those. For the, you know what I'm saying, the additional stuff, it's one thing if I put gaff tape and then I write on the gaff tape for an SSD. That's one thing. But I am concerned, like you said, about my actual batteries and stuff. I'm not going to go that route, but I will take a Sharpie and write on there because it's really just small distinctions. And I got a camera bag that is actually orange on the inside, so the black stuff kind of pops, so I can even see the little something that kind of gets thrown when you're going through your bag. But
yeah,
I mean, but
cotton
it's just
bags. Cotton bags had that bright yellow. I used to love cotton bags, and then I switched. This Manfrotto that I got right now, it's black inside again, but it was the Manfrotto people hooked me up, so I'm stuck with it. But it's I like when the bag has different color inside. Makes it easier to find your stuff.
Right.
What's up, JP? I meaning to send this dude a DM and I forgot, but now he's here. I write it down on this piece of paper so I don't forget.
But so it's like, so you hear us saying like, well, I'm gonna run my camera for it. It's like, now listen, now hold up now. Can you afford?
You
like,
burn your camera, don't blame me.
Don't play that game. I promise you. It's not where it's at. I remember my original M50. I had got some cheap battery adapter by some company called Glorich, Glorich, on Amazon. And I'm just thinking like, okay, no biggie. That mug fried the hell out of my camera. And I'm like, I mean, that mug, it just did no blinky light, no nothing. So I had to send it in. I had to send that mug in for repairs to Canon. And here's how the repair process works. So if anybody's thinking twice about the difference between buying branded versus buying the cheap stuff, again, you do have some reliable third-party brands. Like I said, we talked about Wasabi, talked about Riceup. Those are legit. However, some of these other ones, it's just whatever they get and however they get it. Same way like you saw those cheap capture cards come out last year. And just whatever brand, like people like, oh, mine's okay. All of them have a color shift. And all of them they just wonky as hell.
It's okay. I can't stand that thought process. It's okay. Like, no, it's not okay. If when you go to edit your stuff, you have to spend an extra 15 minutes color correcting. Like 15 minutes. Okay, let's go $10 an hour. I'm going to give us the most broke, like $10 an hour. Okay. After you spent 10 hours I'm sorry, I just messed that up. But anyway, after you spent like 15 hours fixing stuff, you have spent more than buying a cam link. So like, and you will do it because you have to adjust every video because that sucker is pink. Like, it's just a thing. Like, you sit up there, your whole stream with your $20 adapter, you look like this. Like, what's wrong with he? What is wrong with he? Is he sick? Nah, man, he got jaundice. Dang.
What's
like, why he got jaundice?
What's up? Welcome to the stream. We're using the $19 capture cards that you can find on Amazon. Don't you love this picture quality? Ain't this what you like?
You wonder how I did that.
That's what you like to see?
In Ecamm, go to camera effects, take your tint and slide it all the way over to $20 capture card.
This is it right here. And then like people got the nerve. Oh, I put a LUT on mine. Oh, you fancy. You are fancy. Doc, you like my LUT? It's a capture card LUT. You want this? Comes with the limb filter. Comes with the available at the most cheapest
$20 capture card LUT, bro.
The $20 capture card LUT. You know what I'm saying? We rocking this. If you can go to LetsGet.Live and you get that, or you go to Mosif's website, MosifisTheBlackPoet.com. Don't go.
Oh no, the Keith LUT is this right here. Like,
there you go.
All right, Sean Doc, he be out here telling me to just buy all these things, and I'm just trying to buy all these things, and I don't. But Ecamm, Ken and Glenn, like they're the bomb. Ken and Glenn are the bomb. So thank you, Ecamm, for all y'all do. Because I couldn't do my 3-hour goodbye without Ecamm. So Ken and Glenn, thank you, man. I got a Grammy because of Ken and Glenn. So,
okay.
That's what look like. Hey, I need like 8 more cameras though. I didn't switch no angles. My bad, gang.
You sure didn't. You ain't do it right. Now this right here, folks. Now this right here is the, you know, said, hey, let me tell you about Sean Doc.
Hey, and we need the Pellex watch overlay. You gotta get the straight watch overlay.
We gotta do it right. Yeah. If y'all don't know what we're talking
comes
about,
with 3 camera angles. Oh,
if y'all don't know what we're talking about, you gotta check out Keith's live stream in the Ecamm group, also in the Let's Get Live group. It is hilarious.
At the most random times in the evening, by the way,
Right.
when he should be asleep, and then all of a sudden you hear, Keith, bring your butt to bed. Okay, Tina.
Okay.
I was on here gotta go.
You know he be lying on us, Doc. I was on here with Diana and Doc, and then he'd be like, "Oh, it's okay." You heard him say he has said this live that if he's really getting in trouble, he'll say that he was on with us. So she'd be like, "Oh, okay. How's my boy Doc doing? How's Diana doing?" And then he always get in his feelings, and then he'd be like, "Well, what about me? What about me?" He said this so many times. I'm like, this is really happening in the house. So, Brother Mosefus, we praying for you, but stop lying on us, because we ain't the reason.
Look, even young Sammy knows that this goes down. Thank you, Sammy, for the backup. Okay,
right?
This is funny. We love you, Keith. And then Caleb said that $20 capture card. Who wants one of those?
I have so many people. Well, mine's look fine. It looked fine. It's like, no, it really don't. Like the first thing that I did when I was trying out one, because I wanted, like, so for me, I do use one so that I can, when I'm doing stuff at the desk, just to have one that I can plug in real quick to the USB, because I'm doing camera tutorials. That's just to show you the camera screen. It's black, white, and red. That's it. I'm not doing anything else with it. Like, that's all that it does. So I don't have to use...
JP brought up a good thing, though. He said that it does work okay when you're using it to, say, bring in another computer. Like, say your NDI thing is not really working.
Yeah.
So, June, bring the one over you got, now that you got the ZV-1. I want to test what it looks like on the M1. Because, and again, June replying is the computer signal really is more forgiving than a camera would be, because the camera, it's skin tone. Once your skin tone are off, you're jacked. If it's just my what do you call that? The Big Sur background is a little off.
What was this? I don't know. What was this?
What, the Big Sur background? Because I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it right now, and that's the Big Sur background.
Like, you know what I'm saying? The one that I'm like, what the hell? I don't know. What is
the Big Sur background? That's what it looked like.
Okay. We hit it at the same time. I'm like here's the thing though. Oh, we're gonna get on track, I promise. In 2.2
this
seconds.
But the Live is brought to you by Big Sur background.
Big Sur background. The fact you was hella serious, but you doing this, I'm like, where you going?
Sorry. Hey man, I'm still high on Pfizer. Leave me alone.
You sure right. I don't know what kind of shot you went to go get. What corner did you get that off of?
Hey man, I saw the dude on the corner. Kavika said, "Yo man, got them vax." And so
got them vax, cuz.
I gave him a few coconuts, and we was in.
He was in there like swimwear. That is funny. But it's like, it's like if you have a use for something that's budget friendly or something that is super cheap, that's one thing. But that does not say, like, I am not relying on $1,000+ speaking something where, you know what I'm saying, somebody dropping 4 figures just to get you to do a quick talk on something, and I'm gonna come with a $15, $20 capture card. Like, that's what I'm relying on for the talk.
Bruh.
And then we're gonna do Q&A afterwards. Like, so you're gonna pay me over $2,000 to come and do a talk, and then I'm gonna come with a $15 capture card. How that work?
Bro, look, it is real out here in these streets. Yesterday, I'm in a session. I was actually clowning with Katie and Caleb. We're in a session at AdWorld. Now, AdWorld's not a small business in any way, shape, or form. Back in the day, it used to be a giant magazine that you would get when you were in the industry. If you're in the marketing industry, it's the Bible for the industry, right? AdWorld is kind of a big deal. And so the guy was giving a really fire talk. Mm-hmm. But fam, I BS you not. He is on a circa 2000 Plantronics headset with a thing around here with the big like
Oh, the
ball of foam, right? And then talk about sounding like Timberland.
one
They
of
was like,
these.
Hey, so when you're setting up your marketing campaigns, what you want to do is ensure that you are hitting all the key metric points. And so in before you know what you're doing, your essential KPI must be fully vetted. And then
and I'm like,
The
bruh,
bad part
he's
is, Doc, you gain stage your audio so well it don't sound bad.
sorry, but and I was like, Caleb, this guy's info is fire, but I'm having a hard time watching. Number one, I'm high on Pfizer. Number two, it's 3 a.m. Okay, it's 3 freaking a.m. to me. Now, other people, it's okay, but yo, I am up. I'm in my dark in the living room, and I'm trying to hear this, and I was like, this guy is one of the key speakers. I'm like, they probably paid him like 3-4 grand to have this conversation.
Right.
And he is losing people. And I mean, the people that are in his chat, like that are watching the sessions, we're talking heavy hitters like Goldie. Yeah. Like Goldie's a baller, man. She's sick with it. If you don't know Goldie Chan, you need to go to LinkedIn and check out her stuff. So I'm like, you have prominent folks listening to your talk and you show up like that with zero. I'm like, bruh, like it was just hard for me. It was super hard for me. And like Seth Godin, oh, he clean. He's in his room. He's like, yeah, you know, marketers are still getting it wrong. You know, but he was clean, audio legit, background, yellow AF glasses, you know, his blue glasses. Like Seth looked good, the host and stuff looked good. But a couple of those folks, man, they either were coming with really bad quality camera, extremely horrible mics, and some of them were doing that and bringing like a thick accent. And it's like, if you know, like you have a thick accent, don't come weak with it, right? If you watch Anya from Restream, she has a fantastic mic. She has good lighting, good camera, everything, because she knows she's overcoming English as a second language barrier. So she goes out of her way to clean her audio and stuff up so she sounds good. And she kind of balls out and comes in with the Apple headset. Anya, I see what you're doing, girl, making me sad. She over here with a $500 headset. Like, hey, today we're going to talk about Restream.
But you know what? That's something I do respect. And I love to watch like creators that are international. Like, honestly, you know, and I'm saying international because
Peter's
of like,
dude,
especially on
Peter,
YouTube, like you'll get you'll get who's usually like more or less in your region or something like that, unless they're creating over here for like to be presented to the US market or what have you. Okay, well, when I see bad audio and bad microphones and stuff, and that's adding to it, it hurts it, not because it's like, I'm like, speak English. Like, we ain't talking, no, it's like, we ain't talking about none of that crazy crap. We just saying like, if you're coming, it's no different than if I was going to another location or another country or something. They asked me, like, I'm now having to be consciously aware of being lazy in language, just stuff that I would usually be fine with saying on my personal live streams or what have you.
You can't do it.
Even when, and it's just like knowing the speaking and presenting to your audience. So it does help with being able to really hear a person. And it's like, you don't have to speak the language perfectly, but I do need to be able to hear you pretty well. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so we can have
when
that,
I go to speak in
dialogue.
Japan, they're not going to be wanting me to speak Japanese. They're going to be expecting me to speak English because a lot of people are coming for that. And second of all, a lot of these words don't translate, right? So they're the words to what we're talking about, which would be podcasting and live streaming. We don't use Japanese words in that particular case. You use English words. So I will be there and I'll speak English, but at the same token, like I wouldn't want to come with a bad mic to already add to the fact that they're, you know, having a hard time in English. Now, I'll be one of the 8 speakers that will be able to get stuck and then turn around and go, sumimasen, chotto nihongo de. Then I can explain it and then go back to English and then go, light bulb's on. I can fix myself if I get somebody stuck. But everybody else won't have a cheat code. They don't have an up, down, left, right, A, B, select, start. I do.
Exactly.
So, but you have to plan accordingly. Now, take the ESOL out of it. Take the second language factor out of it. Even if you're speaking English to English people, like this guy was doing, he was definitely an American. When your audio is bad, fam, all of this cool stuff we just talked about today with cameras is useless, bro. So you're really super nice Nikon or super nice Canon, Panasonic, whatever, it won't even matter, bro. It won't even matter, because if they can't understand you, they can't do it. And I guarantee you, pay attention to what are the videos that you quit early. When you're, I remember I tell you guys this, don't just watch YouTube, study YouTube.
Watch how you consume the content, right? I just said this in a talk. I was like, as a consumer,
what it turns you off when you get ready to press, you know what? I'm over this, dude. Get your pad out and write down your why. Why did you decide to click off of this video?
That's good.
And then apply that to your dang self.
That's good. That's so
I realized
good.
that yesterday when I was laying up in my bed. I'm watching, I think I watched all of my premium content in one day. I think YouTube is about to call me and be like, okay, we want time on platform. But you kind of been here, dog. You that dude at the all you can eat with the scripts hanging off the plate. Yeah. And then I just started paying attention to, like, why am I leaving this video? But then I also think about, like we spoke of earlier, how I can watch Peter Lundgren accent and all. I can watch Peter for hours. One, he's just a funny looking dude,
so dope.
but his info is fire, and he's goofy because he's 6'12", which is again just hilarious. He's like a giant guy with a tiny little camera running around, but I can listen to him, you know, and
he'll blend in his
engaging.
native language with English, and he'd be like, what is it? And it's like, but you don't think that doesn't bother you at all. You're so fine with consuming his content. But that's the thing. I was explaining this to, I can't even think what talk this was that I was giving recently. But I was like, as a consumer, I was like, you get so, like, you know, you don't care. You have no qualms whatsoever. Like, you are so chill with skipping, going back, saying this sucks, audio's bad, blah, blah, blah. But when you get in the creator seat yourself, you romanticize about doing all the things that you think is cool, will get you attraction or attention, or will get people on your email list, and blah, 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 blah. So you are just stuffing the hell out of the video, and it just kind of don't matter. By the time, it's like they will never get to the first minute of your video, because the first 45 seconds sucks. Full of fluff. It sucks. Is none of what they want to consume. They back out and they bow out and they're done. I was doing this with a coaching client, and we were reviewing. I always, like, if I'm saying that I'm going to go through a client's video, we always dive into the first 30 seconds. And so when I'm looking at the first 30 seconds, this is all I saw was like the laptop screen just flapping. And I'm like, yo, stop. I said, I'm 4 seconds in, and those were horrible. What is going on? Oh, I was trying to fix my laptop. Hell no. Hell no.
Oh, you mean like, in the middle of the thing, the camera was doing this? In the beginning
of the video, like my webcam is off. That mug was flapping. If you take your laptop webcam and just shake that mug, because she was on their lap, and so it was just like shaking from them trying to adjust and stuff like that. Beginning of the video, I said, let me ask you a question, and this is honestly, this just isn't to you know anything with that person, but it's just a learning point for everybody. Why did you feel that this was okay to publish this video in this way?
Like, stop it, come back to it at a different thing.
Right. I was like, because there's no amount of upload schedule, there's no amount of anything that's going on that will make me publish a video in that way. There are some things that, when it comes to video quality, is unexcusable and is not okay. That's one of those things. Or if you audibly hear that your audio is extremely peaking in a way that it is buzzing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get it, it's so loud, it's like it's vibrating. Why did you feel that was okay to leave your audio that way? When you wear something like these and you scrolling for an answer and you are frustrated and you're trying to go through your content or looking for content that solves your problem, when you see a video that sounds or looks like that, what do? I leave.
Yeah, you turn away.
So now you understand why your audience retention graph shows 100% at 0 to 1 second, and it completely nosedives and bumps into the bottom line. Nobody stayed.
So one of the things that came up in the conference this week was this conversation about YouTube being lean back content, whereas IG, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok are lean forward content. And I'm like, what in the exact F is this person talking about? And then after they let it marinate, they go, listen, when you watch YouTube, one of the things you tend to do is pop it up on your TV, pop it up on your iPad or your computer or whatever, and you're in your chair and you're like this, and you're absorbing that YouTube content. However, when you're on TikTok and IG and stuff, you're like this. And I was like, hold up. Hold up. And you don't think about it, but that's true. I mean, okay, half the time I'm in bed like this, but after dropping the phone on my face a few times,
right.
Yeah, it is a true story. So the point of this is, and then I'm gonna come at you, Eric. You know I'm coming at you. When you're make your content with that consciousness in mind, lean forward content, your fingers are on the dial. Like your hand is literally on the dial. So when you don't catch that attention in that 3 to 10 seconds, you're gone. My hand is on the controller. When I'm watching lean back content, I got to grab the mouse, click off. I got to grab the remote control, click off. So I actually have a barrier to get rid of you. So if you really screw it up, you have activated me to press away from you. I have to do something to get rid of you.
Right.
So
you move them to an
know
action.
That, you're right. It's a different thing. It's a body in motion tends to stay in motion. Hello. I mean, it's like elementary school, 6th grade. You was about, a body at rest tends to stay at rest, especially when you get threatened by Sylvia and Karen to stay your ass in bed and don't move. But
unless acted upon by an outside force, that outside force being a roundhouse, kind of gonna hit you cat-a-corner to your earlobe.
holla back, youngin', right? So the point of this conversation is, number one, you can't say to yourself, audio is not important, nobody wants to hear you anyway, because it's not true. A lot of people absorb YouTube while they're walking around, right?
Yes.
I will fully be listening to one of you guys' videos or streams or whatever while I'm cleaning the office or doing something. Washing dishes, my iPad is up on top of the fruit bowl and it's going, right? I'm listening to Caleb, I'm listening, Pike yesterday, I'm listening to Owen or whomever, that video is playing. So that's why the audio is key too. Sometimes I'm not looking at you. I'm absorbing all the info that I can through my ears whilst I am chopping the onion and crying. So,
and I don't have time to stop.
Thank you. Don't sell yourself short on nobody wants to hear you. Everyone has a story. Everybody wants to hear a story. If you keep telling yourself that, then nobody will ever watch you. So if you don't think nobody should watch you, then no one's going to watch you. That's just set yourself up for failure right now. Let's just go ahead and do that. Matter of fact, do yourself a favor and just close the channel. If you think that way. But you make content because you feel like you got something to say, or you feel like you have a story to tell or a skill to share. That was right. I just want to make sure we didn't turn this into this brought to you by Skillshare. No.
This episode is brought to you by
I mean, you have something to say. Otherwise, you didn't bother filming it. Like, Kim can tell you, because we yelled at her all the time about nobody wants to watch me. She don't say that mess no more. You know what happened? Her channel's growing.
It in not a now, not a chat. Not a now, not a chat. I mean, but it's like what you say. It's like the first time you say it might be a joke. The second time you say it, you believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, so first time you say it might be a joke or something because it may be funny in the moment or whatever. Second time you say it's the truth. And if it's something that you repeat about yourself, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a truth or a lie. All it knows is to say yes. All it knows is to say yes. So if you continuously say that you suck, it's going to say, cool, I'm going to find out a way to keep making that happen and be true. If you say...
Okay, and Eric said it was a joke, but no, Eric, I've heard you say this in the chat like 7-8 times. So just do us a favor and don't say it again. Because even if you are joking, which you're not because you said it so many times, people who are watching are reading your comment and starting to catch those feels for themselves. So,
or it makes them say me too.
Right. You can't yell fire in a theater if there's no fire. So it sounds funny. I know it seems millennial, and I know like that's not how you intended, because I know you are a jokester.
Yeah.
But that particular joke is not good for your contemporaries, all the people sitting here watching, because people are impressionable and you actually have stuff to bring to the table. I mean, like, you're doing things, you're creating overlays with your WordPress stuff. So yeah, like those kind of jokes are, whether you know it or not, they're slowing you down. You might not understand that they're slowing you down, but those jokes are slowing you down.
I mean, and that's just a teachable point to anybody, because here's the thing. Most people make decisions in weak states of mind, and every negative thought that you've ever had about yourself comes into full force reality at the frontal lobe of your brain when you're in a weak state of mind. And it's hard to combat the stuff that you have a memory of your voice saying it to yourself. Like your body has resonated physically.
You're the person you believe the most.
Yeah, it's like your brain, your body heard you say this. And so when you're in a weak state of mind, or something happens, or you hit a point of depression or whatever, or somebody say something that kind of hits you, sideways or what have you, or just kind of rub you the wrong way, when you start getting in weak states of mind because of something totally different, all that stuff kind of come back to you on some real stuff. I don't care who you are. And this is working with major brands and stuff like that as well. It's like some of your biggest favorite creators and stuff like that, and entrepreneurs have moments where they are in a weak state of mind and need to be affirmed, but they also still to themselves, things that they have said is just like, no, this, not, or whatever. They have people to affirm and speak life into them when they're in a weak state of mind. And all of us have it. It's not that you may get into a full depression, but you just may have a moment. You may have a day, or you have stuff and it's just like, yo, listen, let's get it together. What are you talking about? I've had moments where
I'm not going to lie. Full transparency. I thought that I was like, it was so strange. Like, Ken was like, I gotta hit you up and ask you something. I was like, oh shit, what did I do? Sorry. I'm like, what did I do? I'm in trouble, whatever. And then Katie just laughing. He's like, you're not in trouble, dummy. Like, you're fine. But like in my head, I was like, oh God, I'm gonna get in trouble. And we ended up working on an issue together. And like, but I don't know why my first inclination was I did something wrong. And I'm like, where did that come from, bro? You don't think like that normally. But this is the first time that I am, dealing with a boss person in over 12 years. So, it's just, I don't know why. I have no idea why. My first inclination was I was in trouble, and it wasn't, So yeah, even that day we were on, and then Ken pops on the stream with us, it was like, hey, good to see you here or whatever. And just making sure we weren't going to get in any trouble. But we say those jokes all the time. Oh, we better behave because Ken's here. And it's like, we behave all the time, dude. Like, don't say stuff like that, because then it just makes it sound like you're doing some. Yeah, I know why too, June, because of mom in the ruler. Exactly. I know why too, June. You don't have to tell everybody, June. Come on, fam. Some stuff is between us, bro. That blue ruler come around the corner.
Listen, you remember the color, yo.
Yo, you guys don't know, dude. Like, blue steel yardstick. Spakack. Ooh, sorry.
Spakack.
Dang,
listen,
June,
that's how that mug must have sounded off. That's a
Hey, you don't gotta cut the old wounds, little brother. Thank you, bro.
That's hilarious. But no, it's like on some real stuff though. It's like, we talk about the gear and the things like that, but it's crazy because we were talking, and I had been more consistent on TikTok and producing more content there, and had that recent video hit. That mug
on TikTok.
That mug hit 25,000 views. And so, but you know what the most common thing was that most people were like saying was that, like, so in that clip I was saying, like, either you don't have consistency problems, either you don't care or you're just not committed to what you're doing. But in the captions, I'll put, just say if you are afraid or that you do not care, just be honest with yourself, because it's not worth the hell and to keep showing up and putting something out there, like, or puffing up like you about to do something. you don't have to front. You can hang with everybody and not say like never want to create a YouTube video that may not be for you. But it's like the thing that people admitted to was like, yep, I'm afraid. I'm hella afraid of it, of the whatevers. And it's like, so the gear buying stuff comes into play with, like, we talk about it from a practical standpoint, but most people aren't willing to make those kinds of investments because, you know, deep down, you may be for real afraid. You're not committed. You haven't committed to yourself. It's not committing to other people. It's committing to yourself, that you're serious about what you said that you wanted to do. And just honestly, it's not even about how much something costs. It's just the investment into yourself. You could invest in a lapel microphone for your smartphone and a $20 LED light, you know what I'm saying? And that's your investment in yourself. But you're not willing to do that. You'll go for a 2 for $20 at Applebee's, but you ain't getting no, you know, no $20 accessory for you to make videos better.
Well,
and, so
and you want somebody to come and pay you to do a gig, and you want somebody to pay you to do a speak, or you want somebody to give you a super chat or buy you a coffee, or, you know, sponsor your channel, be on your ads, but you wasn't willing to put that in yourself in the first place. Like, I don't even know if that math adds up. Like, I don't know how that process got construed in your head.
Yeah.
But if you remember, you were supposed to balance each side of the equation, right? When
the equal sign starts in the middle.
Yeah, and then you work the equation, right?
Yep.
So like, I'm not buying no microphone. I'm not going to use no light. I'm not going to do any of this or whatever. Oh, by the way, can you sponsor my stream for like $250 an episode? You want me to pay you first? So you want me to pay you now to win a golf tournament? I have never even seen your golf bag.
I ain't never seen you swing. And here's the
that doesn't happen in anything. Even in street pharmaceuticals, yo. Let me. Oh yeah, that's bomb. Let me get an eighth.
Let me do a little.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Costco will give you tuna fish on a cracker so that you can taste the elegant velvetiness, puffiness of this Pepperidge Farms. But you want me to support you with the like, a share, time to watch, and all of that mess, and you ain't supported yourself in the least yet?
Whew.
Equal sign, this does not compute. Kraftwerk's 1986, one of the dopest tracks ever.
I'm on some real stuff though, because it's like, you know what, I've been gathering content from TikTok specifically, and the last one that I pulled, or one of the last ones that I pulled, was yesterday. This young lady was saying how, like, obviously everybody comes from a place of not loving their jobs most of the time, or just at least wanting to do something different, or feeling like stuck in your creative path. And like, it seems like you're going to lose a lot to switch or to do the different thing that you want to do. And she was just saying how she had her camera and she just wanted to start taking like more photos and videos and stuff like that. So she created a series on TikTok of her doing product shots and like ads, because that's what she wanted to do, but she hated the job that she was in and stuff. But she was like, I'm going to use this as an outlet. She said, my first video that I posted to TikTok got 30 likes. She was like, 30 likes was enough for me to say, I can post content here. Like, I can do this. 32 to be exact, I recall. She started posting content, and she said she started to do product shots and stuff like that, like an ad for basic random at-home stuff, a hanger, a fork, you know what I'm saying, a spray bottle, or, you know what I'm saying, a roll of tissue. Like, it just started being, then she's like, but then brands started noticing me, and then they wanted real commercials. And she just landed her dream job and was able to quit her current job because of her making and betting on herself, investing in the gear, deciding to publish content to TikTok because she had 32 likes on a video, which in TikTok land is very easy to do. It's not hard, but it's like, so to most people, that's like, oh, I only got 32 likes. She may have only had 32 views or 100 views or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That equated to that. It could have been 1,000 views and only 32 likes, but it's just like the only thing is things that like that only word gets people so stuck. But for her, she took it as a point of encouragement. The fact that people actually saw it and somebody actually responded to just a random video. I think I can do something here. She took that singular thing of I think I can, and now she just landed her dream job because she was posting stuff that she wanted to do that nobody was paying her to do onto TikTok. It started blowing up because she just, I don't have in gear money to invest in nothing. I don't have no products. I can't really do brand stuff that might be for a phone because I don't want to take no help from, I'm just going to pick basic stuff. I'm going to take a dinner fork. I'm going to take a candle with the label off. I'm going to take a coffee mug. And she landed her dream job in addition to making money from just posting stuff on TikTok.
That's crazy.
Case in point, she was able to be hired on as like a creative director. So let's not get it twisted.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, that's so crazy.
It's just the idea though. It's like, but even still, it's like one of the interesting things that came up for like if anybody's seen like the social media examiner stuff, it's like he said, I saw your YouTube channel. I found you on YouTube. And then I noticed that we had some people that we commonly knew. But I found you on YouTube. That's what he told me. You know what I'm saying? Like your content that you can create for yourself can do a ton
just never
for
know
you.
You never know who finds it. You never know who sees it. You never know. Kevin had a really cool comment about that's why the trolls come at you so hard is because you thought or felt that yourself. You're not offended by the trolls if you don't think that about yourself, right? I can honestly say the comments I've ever gotten from somebody that was down to hurt me only affected me when I kind of believed it myself anyway. Yeah, that's trippy. You know, I don't think we think about that stuff. But, you know, because I already felt that about myself anyway, when they bring it up, then I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if I didn't care, it's just gone. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like it's super crazy. Like I have never defended myself when someone came out of their mouth and they thought that I was gay because I used to DJ all of the LGBT parties, right? But because I've never thought that about myself, that never offended me. I'll just let them think that, you know, no biggie, right? But if somebody said something that kind of hit a nerve, then I'm like, oh, bro, I will break your face. That's because I was probably thinking that about myself already. It's just weird. Like if somebody come up to you and said, Dana, you funny looking Chinese girl, like you like what? Okay.
Right,
like, you know,
okay.
That's not the thing, right? At all. But if someone was like, you're a woman and you don't have the power or you're not smart enough to, but she's like, say that shit again. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, you be found in a dumpster behind the library.
Right? You about to get all of the St. Louis when
all
they
the
say
smoke.
ribs.
You about to catch all
the smoke. You don't know where those ribs come from, right? Those ribs might have came from some dude
Secrets
that got
in the sauce.
So yes, Kevin, that is like really, really poignant what you said, because I don't think we think about that, but it's a true story. Like that's why they say when you do this to somebody else, it's the ones pointing back at you. Half of the stuff that we throw at other people, you're throwing it because you don't like that about yourself. And that's a known thing. Projection is huge. If you don't think projection is huge, watch went on for the last 4 years. There was a lot of projection in all of those comments. I'll let you figure it out by yourself. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's just deep.
Listen, that's a whole other stream.
This week in psychology is brought to you by DanaGladney.com.
Go to DanaGladney.com for all of your educational needs. Yeah, for real. I mean, but it's just like we could talk about the gear and stuff. That's easy, but it's the DMs and the stuff that come afterwards, because it's the stuff about. It's like that's why, honestly, if we've been like really honest. That's why you know you need a specific something. the money may be in the bank and it may not hurt for you to use that. Like it's not going to phase you. Your family's not going to go hungry for the month because you made that investment.
Luis,
but you don't
that person
believe
you're
in
speaking
yourself.
of is my client, by the way.
It's like, but you don't believe in yourself enough. So you figure, I'm just going to get the cheap thing, because the cheap thing is also in alignment with your belief, which is nilch. And it's no big of a deal to blame the gear for messing up because it's too cheap and it didn't work that well. And then you can self-convince yourself of that's why such and such and such and such. And then you don't feel bad because you can blame shift over there about the gear instead of looking on the inside with some stuff you need to deal with. I see it all the time.
What's funny? You know what's funny? I didn't think about this, I guess. But we got dudes in our chat who will say stuff like that, like in the community, like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend this yet or whatever. Dude, every dude in that chat at some point in time walked into a store somewhere, dropped 3 to 20, 30, maybe 50 grand and bought something with no idea what the answer was fitting to be. And then rolled up to the workplace or the restaurant or the family gathering or whatever, 10 grand deep in the pocket. Like literally had no idea what the outcome was, but you trusted in yourself, you trusted in your situation, and you trusted in your gamble. And then you sat down, and when the souffle came out, you pulled said 20 grand out your pocket and you went, Tina, would you marry me? And you over here talking about, I don't want to spend $1,000 on the camera. Kiss my.
That's some,
you had no idea.
Stuff.
She could have been like, nope, I'm talking to Steve. Yeah, seen it on basketball before, fam. So like, inside, and I said dudes, but hey, there's females that done it too. So hey, if you could roll out to dinner with full confidence with this little box in your pocket, you got this little box in your pocket, you're like, oh yeah, I'm ready. I got on my little suit over here. And you know Keith was clean. Let's just get it straight.
You know, Mosifus had he shaved up.
Hey,
you know
what I'm saying? And you was able
up.
to reach in your pocket and pull out that thing, and you done already spent the money. And 9 times out of 10, at most places, if you went to Zales, you couldn't get your money back. So you definitely know that if it's what you really want, you can easily justify spending the loot and putting said loot to work to get an outcome that you want. So how much do you want it?
We're gonna close out on that one. I don't know about y'all, but if you're looking for somewhere to drop your money, you can go to the links down in the description and will be available for you. We should have did this way long ago. We got some overlays the store is about to drop very soon, so hopefully part of the email community and you are getting those emails. And if you are, we got a surprise for you also. But yeah, overlay packs will be dropping for the store. This is This Week in Live, this week with your hosts, Diana Gladney, Doc Rock. And if you're not creating for yourself already, what are you doing? You're holding yourself back, and there's nothing holding you back but you. Tune in next week for This Week in Live. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow us on all the socials at Let's Get Live, fam. We'll see you on the next one.
Aloha.